And we're live. I was hoping to have Kari from No Me Callas. I think we had a time zone mishaps. So, what I'm going to do right now instead is I know her from Instagram. She does Instagram shorts. She also live streams on Instagram. So, I don't have TikTok, so I don't know if this is all her videos. But I just want to give you a little taste of what she talks about. So people, hopefully, we could reschedule this another time, or maybe she'll pop on. Not sure, but here's play a couple of her recent videos. Here's one.
This one may piss some of you off, pero me vale. Let's get into it. By now, I'm sure you guys have heard about The Woman King and all the hype and what a great movie it is, you guys. It is basically a movie about a tribe in Africa, the Dahomey tribe, and its warriors, which were women, the Dahomey Amazons, or the Agoji. They used to call them the Agojis, I believe. The movie glorifies the Dahomey tribe and the Agoji women, and like these women, they were amazing warriors. That's a fact. However, they were also ruthless and evil. They were invading other African tribes, stealing them and making them slaves themselves. They actually sold them to the Atlantic slave trade and kept some of them for themselves for the royal plantations. Actually, about 90% of the slaves that were sent through the Atlantic slave trade were captured and sold by other Africans. Many of the people that the Agoji women captured actually ended up in America. And this didn't stop until the British actually started blocking off the Dahomey ports. The movie blatantly ignores all that, you guys. So they're always trying to say that America is trying to whitewash history, but they're not even being factual with their own history. So if you go watch this movie, I'm sure you'll be entertained, but just be aware that it is part fiction. Yeah, the story behind the tribe is factual. However, they gloss over a lot of what the tribe actually does. This one may piss them off.
And she's not she's not wrong. It was it CNN. Don Lemon got busted because he was talking with some British person who was a royal family expert. He said about reparations, and she talked about how, yeah, she's like, there should be reparations. What about what about the people who enslaved the people who were sent over? Shouldn't they have to pay reparations too? So if you were selling slaves to the Europeans, shouldn't your family also be someone who has to pay for reparations? It was a good point she made up, and Don Lemon was stumped. I mean, what can you say to that? Here's another one of her videos.
The past few days have been so interesting. It took Democrats less than 48 hours to show their hypocrisy, that Biden policies are trash, that they're racist, and that they're full of shit. We have had almost 2 million illegal immigrants come in this year. Our border towns are swamped. We have about 10,000 people living under the bridge. But it only took 50 illegal immigrants in Martha's Vineyard for them to realize it was a crisis. They immediately called the National Guard. They sent them to a base, and they get them the hell out of there so quick. But they didn't care when we had hundreds of illegal immigrants dying on the border. They didn't care when we found 53 dead illegal immigrants in a truck. They don't care that our border towns are being overwhelmed. They only care when it affects them. I really want to get into the racism because conservatives are racist. No sé qué tantas pendejadas, right? It only took 50 illegal immigrants for NBC to tweet that they're trash. Racist as fuck. There is no compassion in open borders. People are dying, children are getting sex trafficked, drugs are coming into our country, America is being overwhelmed, and Democrats didn't give two shits about that until you sent 50 illegal immigrants to their bougie ass cities. But Democrats are the ones for sanctuary cities and open borders. Put your money where your mouth is. Stop being a hypocrite. Or you know what? We're back Republican, but we say secure our borders.
And when it comes to securing the borders, it's the reason why it's so important is because you have people who are coming here illegally, coming here the wrong way, and putting their lives at risk. You got people who are coming from they'll cross deserts, they'll cross the river. There's probably people. There's probably people. The number reported deaths are less than they're actually the reported deaths are probably less than the actual real deaths. It's because they probably don't find all the bodies, and maybe they do. It's you never know when that they'll report the death. You don't know how long they've been dead. But anyways, if you secure the border and if you put policies in place that don't encourage people to come here illegally, this would happen less. That's the whole problem. Then you get the lies of the Democrats, like this
In El
whopper.
Paso, they've released 1,000 migrants on the street because the processing centers are overwhelmed there. How is that humane? How is that?
It is a broken system, the immigration system, and it was decimated by the last administration. That is a fact.
Y'all know she's so full of shit, right? Literally, first day this man was in office, he just signed EO after EO. All right, let me break it down for you guys. Trump implemented the Remain in Mexico policy in Title 42, which drastically dropped a lot of illegal immigration. With these policies in place, apprehension numbers dropped drastically, you guys. I believe there was a month in 2019, I'll have to double check, where his numbers were like 11,000. Get down really easy for you guys. I'm gonna add this here, you guys. Highlighted Trump in red, and I highlighted Biden in blue. Purple is the month that Biden came in. As you can see, these numbers are insanely different. We went from 458,000 illegal apprehensions a year to 1.7 million this year, and we haven't even counted July yet. So
you could see one of the reasons why I wanted to have her on is she's very informed. She's very informative. She's one of the reasons I wanted to get into Lexit, because I think it's a very important movement. I think to get Latinos to wake up. I mean, there's a Blexit movement, but I'm not black, so it's a different experience. It's better, I would love to have someone on from Blexit, but I want to get my people to wake up. Being Latino myself, people, this is why the Democrats pander, because they want, they're. I'll quote someone here. They're thirsty for our votes, and this is a person here. She's running for Congress. Her name is Dr. Mariela Roca. She put Joe Biden, Hispanics are tacos. Nancy Pelosi, don't send immigrants up north. We need crop pickers in the South. Joe Biden, I was raised Puerto Rican. And goes, yeah, why is the left so thirsty for the Hispanic community? Que locos. And that's the whole thing. Like I said, they pander because they don't have the issues that awake Latinos want to hear. This whole, most Latinos are either pro-life or they're pro-choice with restrictions. And I remember in New York, when they passed abortion up to birth law in New York, I spoke to my parents, my in-laws, and like Telemundo and Univision, they didn't say nothing about this law. They didn't report on it. Why? Because if they would have reported on a law saying this law would have allowed abortion up to birth, most Latinos would have voted against it. But they tell you a story, not the story. That's what you get from the news. They tell you let's say, for example, this whole Biden thing saying, well, I'll play what he said.
raised, and so I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home politically.
You were raised in a Puerto Rican community politically? No. Okay. Because Puerto Ricans, we're all over the place. You know, I was having a conversation recently with someone who said Puerto Rico should be become independent. And I was telling him, well, you don't know the history of, you know, of Puerto Rico then, because if you don't understand why we are the way we are, then you don't know the history. Because even when Puerto Rico was part of Spain, Puerto Rico had three pluralities, or well, not pluralities, but three factions: in the independence, uh, status quo, and in the case of Spain was provincial or provincehood, however you would say that. So is no different now in Puerto Rico, where it's the same thing. It's statehood, independence, or status quo. And I say status quo is leave things as it is. But that's what you know. So you got to know history. Like I said, you know, the guest I was supposed to have on, she's very knowledgeable. But this is what the Democrats do. They pander to the Latino community, and that's why they two reasons why they like illegal immigration is because they think what, you know, once they get enough illegals here, and then they legalize them, get them, and then they feel that that's going to make them, you know, make Democrats pretty much impossible to beat. But here is why that is it's a fallacy. Because two things. One, most of these illegals, when they come here, they go to big cities. Big cities are already deep blue. So you're not winning these smaller communities around the cities, or in the country, in the rural areas. You're not winning that vote by bringing the illegal immigration. You know, all you're doing, you know, this is one of the reasons why they want to get rid of the electoral college. This is why they want to push the popular vote, because they're doing that. But here's the whole thing: not all these illegals that come here, when they go to, if they do become citizens, that doesn't mean they're going to automatically vote Democrat. That's you know, that's the thing that they don't understand. You know, sometimes they do, because you know, you have communities like, you know, that's why they're strict with the Cuban community, immigrants, Haitians, because these are illegal immigrants that will come here. But if you give them citizenship, they're not going to vote Democrat. You know, Venezuelans too. Venezuelans, you give, if they come here illegally, they're escaping socialism in their country. What makes you think that when they get here, they're going to vote for socialism in this country? But like I said, pandering, that's what they do. I mean, here, show you another good example is here in Arizona. He goes here: Hispanic moderator stumps Arizona Democratic governor candidate Katie Hobbs on one specific lesson learned from the Hispanic community. And that's the whole thing. If that stumped her, oh my goodness. I mean, here's a state that's heavily populated with Hispanics, and you couldn't say nothing? Not even a word salad? Because, like I said, they pandered. They don't know how to connect with us other than saying, illegal immigrants, you're welcome here. It's like, that doesn't tell me how you're going to make my kids' school better. Doesn't tell me how you're going to fix the economy. It doesn't tell me how you're going to how you're going to stop schools from, you know, teaching my kids that they're the opposite gender and not tell me about it. How are you going to change? How are you going to fix this stuff? You're not, especially with that last issue there. They're not going to stop it. They're encouraging it. And this is why I go, if it's just this one issue, if it's just this one issue, hold on for 1 second. I have to fix the live stream. Let me send again. Okay, she's on. I'm trying to get her on. Give me 1 second. Let me stop this screen share. And let me go to Instagram. I'm sorry. This is what you get with me. You get a live show. One of the reasons why I do live shows, I don't edit. I don't do editing. I rather keep it real. You see what's going on with me. Let me see. Okay. Bear with me. My guest is having technical difficulties. So hopefully once we figure out these technical difficulties, I can actually have a conversation. They think we just pick fruit and stay quiet. Don't Adrian, don't forget that they also think that we're nannies, we're maids. Oh, and their favorite, landscapers. But yeah, you know, this is what happens. Like I said, this is what happens when you go live. You get issues, and I need more light. There you go. My right Rican was getting a little messed up over here. I had to fix it. So while I wait for hopefully this works. Let's see what's going on here. So I already talked about since Kari's from California, I want to touch about this story with her. I saw this here. California high school football team told to stop running onto the field with thin blue line flag. Oh, I didn't show it because I also have Instagram on. So yeah, I don't know. I'm ad-libbing here. So tomorrow, if you follow me on Instagram, you will see I have tomorrow I have a measure in, so to speak. Instead of a weigh-in, I have a measure in. I've put some of my pictures on Instagram of my weight loss because I've lost. I went from 282 to 227 in about 4 months. I still got more to go, but I still got about. This happens before, and anyone who's been on the weight loss journey knows when you get really heavy, you tend to lose weight fast. I was losing about 2 to 4 pounds a week. And then since September, it slowed down because what ends up happening is you hit a certain weight. You hit a certain weight, and you know they call it a plateau. But what it is let's say, for example, I've been lifting, and that's what I call it a measuring, because I, I measured my arms, my chest, my legs, my hips, just to get an idea of my body dimensions. I also did that you hold this thing and it tells you your body fat percentage. I don't know how accurate it is, but hopefully I'll be able to do that again tomorrow and see what my results are. I know I've in September I've lost maybe like 1.5 pounds, and like I said, the first 55 pounds, I lost from so June, July, August, September. So let's say about 3.5 months. I lost the first 53 pounds, and now I lost the other weight. And okay, well, there we go. I'm I'm going to bring Kari on now, and glad to have her
A
on.
bit because I feel like, hey, can you get it? Okay, on my end, it's really
Yeah.
hard to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Barely. Is that better?
Casi no te escucho.
All right, let me see. I don't know what's going on. Let me just double check that my audio's from my mic. Oh, okay. That would explain. Oh, default. No, wait. Display.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
it wouldn't let me on. It was saying that there was some type of issue, and then I had to go on the Chrome.
Okay.
But now it's just very hard to hear you.
Let me see. I'm putting my mouth like as close to this mic. I hope other people weren't having issues with hearing me. Let me see something. Adrian, one of my viewers. Can you hear me? Are you using your phone? Are you using your phone, Kari?
Mande? I'm so sorry.
Are you using your phone?
Yes.
Maybe do you have a headset?
I do not know where it is at.
Okay.
I do not have a whole headset on. I know I have
no,
my
like your phone,
earbuds on,
like
but I
you
think
have
my husband took them
headphones?
to the gym.
Oh, okay, no problem. No, you know what? If I sound like I'm yelling, I just want to be able that you can hear me better.
Okay, I can
So
barely hear you.
if it sounds like it, I apologize.
No, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry about being late. I thought we said 6. It was on my calendar at 6. I was making dinner for my family before I ran up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worry. Hey, I had to rush. My daughter has a fever right now. So, I had to, we gave her like Tylenol and ibuprofen, and my wife freaked out. So she gave her a COVID test.
Pobrecita, I hope she feels better.
Thank you. So, welcome on. Welcome on. I'm glad to have you on. I've been wanting to tried to have you on earlier this year, but I know you were heavily involved with the primary elections in June.
Yeah, we were trying to do some interviews and things. I had my friend Yoshi, and then I ended up having some personal things happening, and it's just been a lot of chaos on my end. But thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So, well, first introduce yourself to my viewers, just in case for people who don't know who you are.
Okay. So have you seen me doing this? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get close to hear you. Sorry, you guys. But I'm Kari. My handle is No Me Callas on pretty much most social media platforms, and I'm just your typical first generation Latina. I'm American. I was born here. My mother came here legally. And yeah, I just kind of have a big mouth now. I see a lot of what's happening in the country, so I just decided that, it's time to use it. It's time to start speaking up, if not, and yeah, somehow, I don't know, I have people like you inviting me on, and I don't, so thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. I wanted to, so how did you get involved with Lexit? Like, how did that get started for you?
Okay, so I actually am no longer with Lexit.
Okay.
I haven't been with Lexit for months now, since before the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, around the summertime. But yeah, so not this 4th of July, the one last year, 2021. um, I started seeing a lot of hate for the country and a lot of things that were happening, and especially from the Latino community, you know. So I just sat in front of a camera and I just started speaking out because one of the things I was always told was like, you forget where you came from, you're a traitor. Because you know, I voted for Trump twice, 2016 and 2020, and
Me too.
Latinos didn't like that. But I was born here in California, but I was also raised in Mexico. I spent my summers with my abuelita over there. And I always say I got the best of both worlds, you know, because I learned to appreciate my culture and my heritage, but I also learned to appreciate the opportunities this country offers. Like my grandma had no indoor plumbing for like a long time, you know, so you would go outside, y te bañabas en la pila, and as I would go every year, it got upgraded because my family here was sending money over there, you know.
Yeah.
When I was 22, I married my husband, and he's a Marine. He's in the military, and I learned to appreciate this country in a different way, not just for the opportunities, but I learned to appreciate our freedoms and what they stand for and what it takes to have them. So when I started being attacked, I never really understood why. Nobody really wanted to hear my perspective. The Latino community was just very, like they had blinders on. They were just very mad and they didn't care about my
He's
perspective.
racist. He's racist. Oh, you know, it's like, how could you defend him? And
Yeah, very much like that. And so 4th of July 2021, I just had enough. And I just finally sat down in front of a camera and I just kind of started like giving my little spiel, like, listen, I never forgot where I came from. You know, I remember this. I remember being with my abuelitas. I remember the struggle. And I'm like, but we came here for a reason. I'm like, and I think we need to remember why we all left, you know? So 3 months later, the RNHA actually wanted me to do podcasts for them. But at the same time, the Lexit founder reached out to me, and I couldn't be with both organizations because there were some legal issues going on.
okay.
So I kind of I made a choice, and I ended up deciding to stay with Lexit. And yeah, I was with Lexit for maybe like 8 months.
Okay.
But about the summer, I was just like, you know what, this isn't my cup of tea. So I kind of like left.
Oh, okay.
And it's nothing against Lexit. I think Jesse, I think the founder is a great man. I think him and A-Rod are amazing. Yeah, it just wasn't for me, you know?
No, I understand. Sometimes behind the scenes, there's always different types of goals in mind. People, you know, people have different ideas of maybe where they want to take things. And sometimes, you know, that's the whole thing. That's the whole difference between the right and the left, because we're individuals. We're individualistic. So sometimes it's hard for us to work together as opposed to the left, where they're kind of monolithic in their thought process.
Well, it wasn't necessarily hard to work with them. Like I think that organization can do amazing things for the Latino community.
No,
It was just
that's not what I mean. I just was trying to show the difference just between the left and the right. Like there is no what, you know, there's just that monolithic thought process when you're on the left that, you know, they all stick together because it's kind of like a drone thing, or like, you know, they're just a single mind.
it's like a cult.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's a cult where we have our disagreements and sometimes we can't get over those disagreements. So sometimes, you know, that's what it makes it harder on the right to unite everybody because of the, like I said, the individual nature of being quote unquote conservative.
Yeah, and I know you also had Lisette on here.
Yeah.
I think she's great. You know I met her through Lexit, but it was the same thing. You know, we are individuals.
Yeah.
We just kind of we're doing our own path now. You know.
Yeah, she focuses her. I also had her niece on, and they focus a lot on the religious side.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I don't mind talking about it. I think religion and faith is very important. But I try to get the whole gambit of it. I try to touch you know, like I used to have someone on, but he started a different job, and he's an atheist. So one time when I had him on, I think we went on like a half an hour going back and forth, just because the fact that he was an atheist, and I was trying to explain to him your values that you have as a atheist that you think you get because you're an atheist really come from Judeo-Christian values. It's, you know, I told them like, thou shalt not murder. If thou shalt not murder was universal, then let's say the Aztecs wouldn't have been sacrificing children to their gods. If murder, if you know, thou shalt not murder was universal. I was
So
just giving that as an example to him.
I'm going to be very honest. I don't consider myself a Christian. I don't use the title. And it's just because I see a lot of Christians who you know, they hide behind that title, and then they're adulterers, they're liars, they're this, they're that, you know. And to me, I'm not that person. I know I have a lot of faults, you know, so I'm just not going to claim to be something I'm not. But with that being said, I do see how the foundation of this country aligns with Christianity. So I do agree with you. You know, I don't claim to be a Christian, but I do appreciate the values of Christianity.
Well, I think the problem, and I was having the conversation with them where I told them Christianity and religion is just like any other part of the society. They still get affected by like wokeness. It's entering the churches just as much as it's entering every other part of society, because it's a contagion. It's a social contagion, like the whole transgender stuff.
That in itself is its own religion. You know, the left has, I think, they bash Christians so much, but they have their own cults. They have their own religion. That includes the transgenderism. That includes, you see them murdering, sacrificing their children up until birth, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very sad. You know, I don't know. It's just very sad to see the state this country is in.
There's a question here. Someone put, what are your opinions of the Latin community increase in Republican registration?
I think it's much needed, and I think we're behind. This should have been happening a long time ago, because the Latino values align with conservatism, and they go hand in hand together. It's just that we are manipulated by propaganda, and there's a huge language barrier. The minute people come across the border, they start telling them like, ellos son racistas, you know, you don't align with them, we are here to help you. When in reality, if we just look at policies and we just look at what each party has to offer, we'll see that we align more with conservatives. So I think that it's amazing. I just wish it would have happened a lot faster.
Yes, I agree. I wish it would have happened a lot sooner. The guy who asked the question, I know personally. I used to live in Texas, and I used to tell him, I said, one of the biggest problems in our community is there is no, let's say, Fox News of the Latino community. All you have is Telemundo and Univision, and they're both extreme left wing.
They're very much CNN in Spanish, but we also have a lot of independent journalists coming up now who are Latinos.
Yes.
I'm a big fan and personal friends of Jorge Ventura and Anthony Cavazza and Oscar El Blue. Oscar El Blue is a Mexican journalist, and he actually travels with the caravan. Anthony Cavazza, he just went independent, but he was with El American, which is an up-and-coming Latino news station. I know Paulina Rubio was with them. No, not Paulina.
It's funny, I follow all of them, so I know exactly.
Yeah, they're all Paulina Rubio. Oh my God, I'm over here thinking my childhood over there. Like, no, but yeah, we have amazing Latino journalists who are coming up and showing the other side of it, you know. And I think that as the Latinos are waking up and joining the conservative movement, these people are just going to be our next Jorge Ramos.
Yeah, but better.
but
Wait,
better.
that's like
I always tell Anthony that I go, you're gonna be like, you're gonna be the Jorge Ramos of our generation, but you're actually gonna be preaching facts, you know?
shut up. Well, then he's gonna be the Tucker Carlson of the Latino of the
Yeah,
Latino
you
community.
know, it's very much needed in our community. All these
I agree.
Latinos, you know.
No, I agree. I follow all of them. I also follow Savannah Hernandez. She's
Me too.
great.
I'm obsessed with her. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit of a, you know, I love that because you see Jorge Ventura, you see Oscar Blue on the
Yeah.
field, but to see a woman doing it is it's
Yes.
empowering, you know, and to be a
Mhm.
Latina, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first video I saw of hers was, I think it was at a trans thing, and actually one of the trans people stood up for her and was like protecting her from the other, from the other people, and it was like, oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's pretty great. I know that Jorge Ventura and I were messaging earlier. Every once in a while, I do lives with them on my Instagram. I mean, I don't have a podcast. I don't have a YouTube. I'm just kind of like just trying to like speak out in my own little way.
yeah.
And I'll have them on sometimes, and they'll just update us on what's happening.
Uh-huh.
And I really want to reach out to Savannah and see if she wants to pop on too. But a ver qué dice, so cross your fingers, you guys.
Well, maybe you can help me because I think I've reached out to some of them sometimes and I never get any responses. If you know them, I would love to have some of them on.
Yeah, like literally. Okay, so I always say I'm a nobody, you know, because that's really I'm a nobody.
Well,
I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm just someone who's speaking out. And I've just been very fortunate. I always, you know, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm always like, they're never gonna come on. But I'm like, what's the worst that they can say? No.
no, or
So
ignore
I'll
it.
always send a message,
Mhm.
and I've been very fortunate that they've said yes. I've also had like rappers on. I just had King Bao on.
I know, I saw that. It was funny before you had him live. I had reached out to him too because I saw his video, the Jimmy Kimmel challenge thing, and I was like,
Mhm.
that's great. I mean, that's the beauty of social media and this alternative media is the fact that you can get your message out now.
No, and
You know,
that's so true. I'm very thankful. I mean, I have the people that ignore me too. You know what I mean? I've
oh,
been trying to
please.
get some of the gays against groomers on to come and talk, give us their side. Because I as a mom, I appreciate what they're doing. You know,
Yes,
I have school age
I'm
children.
next week. Well, kind of to segue into a promo for next week, I'm having someone on. He goes by the tag Conservatish, Peter Feliciano. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I may have. It's really hard to hear you.
Okay,
So
Peter Feliciano. He goes by Conservatish.
conservative. I don't think I follow him. I'm gonna go check him out when we get off.
Check him out on Instagram. He's funny. He is funny. He's dirty. So don't watch it around the kids.
No, yeah. You know, yeah, I'll check him out. I haven't heard of him yet. So tell me about him.
Yeah. Well, he interviews. I think he's had one of the uh, gays against groomers people on his podcast. So I was gonna
Okay.
when I talk to him, I'm gonna reach out because he used to live in New York and now he moved to Austin. So I was gonna reach out to him when I talk to him next week and see,
Yeah, dude, let me know how that goes.
yeah,
That'd be
no, definitely.
amazing.
If he connects me with someone, I will definitely pass it on to you because, like I
Yeah,
said, just
you
like
know, I think
you say
that,
you're nobody. I'm like I have less followers than you do. It's
you know, I just got lucky. Like, to be honest, I don't even have a lot of followers, but I'm very, like I said, I'm very, very fortunate. I would have, when I started speaking out a year ago, I had people telling me to speak out way before that because I'm very stubborn. Si me dices que no, I'm just not gonna listen to you. You know what I mean? Así soy yo. So when my family started attacking me, like, you're racist, you're this, when was America ever great? I would go on my Facebook, I'd be like, you know?
yeah, I
So,
know. I had
and it
people
became,
unfriend me.
I'm sorry?
I said I had people unfriend me, and my uncle doesn't talk to me.
Same. I had a lot of the same things happen to me, but the more I got hated on, the more I would post conservative things on Facebook to the point where I was a troll. I'm literally like my Facebook got hacked. and I don't even have one anymore. But I became a Facebook troll. Like, I have a sister, and we are complete opposites. She works at Planned Parenthood. She voted
Oh.
for Biden. She is liberal. And she would make a little post, and I would go debunk it. It was just so annoying. And I had my other sister, who's also conservative, be like, Karina, you need to start speaking out. Gadi, you need to start speaking out. And I'm just like, okay, no. You just want me to get caught in the crossfire. It's one thing for me to troll my family and friends, but it's like another to put myself out there when there's so much hate going on, you know?
Yeah, no, I know. When I first started doing videos, I actually covered my face. I actually put like a mask on, and
Really?
people thought I was doing it because of COVID. And it was like, no, it had nothing to do with COVID. I was just afraid of people seeing my face and then coming at me, like out in the real world. Like, I have a special needs child. He's, well, not even a child. He's 15 now. So I have a teenage special needs child. So
So you
I
have
mean,
older kids.
well, I have just two. I have my 15-year-old and my 5-year-old.
Hmm.
We waited, when you have a special needs child, sometimes you get worried about having another child. And we waited a little bit because he wasn't walking. Now he walks. So it's stuff that, we just waited a while before we had our second child. Which, by the
Wow.
way, congratulations, because I know you're pregnant.
Thank you. Yeah, we're expecting our third, so we're excited. Kind of like the same. My oldest is 10, and then I have a 6-year-old, and now so there's a gap, but it's everyone's really excited. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I was so happy for you because I'm like, I know, we wanted to have another one, but she had such a bad pregnancy that it's like I wouldn't want to put her through that again.
Yeah, this one hasn't been easy on me. I'm not gonna lie. We have our own health issues going on with it, but
Uh-huh.
it's a blessing, and we're just taking it day by day. So the boys are very excited. I have 2 boys, and now we're having a little girl. So
Even bigger congrats. You got the pair, so to speak.
yeah, so they are over the moon that they're having a little sister.
Yep, they get to protect her because
Yeah,
I'm
they
a
say
big
that. So.
I have 2 sisters, so I know what it's like to want to protect my sisters, even though my sister I have one that's 7.5 years older and 7.5 years younger. But even
So you're right in the middle.
I'm right in the middle. So even with my older sister, I remember one time one of her boyfriends tried to hit her in front of me, and I was 12, and this guy's like 25, and it was like I pushed him to the side. And it was like, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
that's a
And it
good
was,
brother.
oh no, you
Yeah.
lay finger on my sisters. You better be, you better be ready to throw down because
Oh yeah, they're
pretty.
already like that. Like, I already know they're gonna be amazing. Like, like I said, this pregnancy hasn't been easy on me, but
Mhm.
my boys take such good care of me. Like, it's like I had the worst migraine. It was like a 24-hour migraine.
Ay,
Um,
bendito.
I just couldn't get rid of it, and I had like all these other symptoms going on. So they're like kissing my forehead. They're bringing me ice
Oh,
packs. They're bringing me agua. They're the
yeah.
best. So I cannot wait to see them with their little sister.
Oh no, that's great. That is great. I can't wait to hear more stories.
Oh yeah, they're
After.
wonderful.
But yeah, I'm gonna go here to a question he asked here. Uh, his comment was, we lack Latin leaders. Why do you think we lack Latin leaders?
For the same reason we lack Latin journalists, I think that the Latin leaders are coming. I think they're on the way. It's just taking us a while to get there.
Mhm.
You see it happening. You see a lot of Latinos, Mayra Flores. You see a lot of Latinos who are getting in there for us.
Mhm.
And I think it's wonderful. We're getting there. Unfortunately, it's just taking us a little bit longer. We were bamboozled for so long.
Yeah, that's why people like my lefty friends get mad when I call it the. Actually, I had someone block me for referring to being part of the like Latinos being part of the Democrat Party as being the Democrat plantation.
Well,
She
it's
blocked
true
me
though.
for it.
If you think about it, it is true. And I love Candace Owens. I know she was the one that would say that a lot about the
Mhm.
Democrat plantation, and it's so true. Nos tienen manipulados to where we think that we have to be with them. You know, I know that here's another question. Again, you said, how do we better educate Latino communities and others with conservative policy and understanding? You know what? I think understanding the Constitution is the way to go. This is actually one of my big spiels, that nosotros venimos aquí para la oportunidad. We want the opportunities, but we don't understand why these opportunities are there. And it all goes back to the foundations of this country. We have to educate ourselves and educate our community on the Constitution and our freedoms, because si no, para qué vinimos? You know what I mean? Our family came here for a reason, and we don't realize what those reasons are. We don't realize why the opportunities are here. We don't realize the foundations of this country. We don't protect them. We came here for nothing. We're turning this country into the one we left. And you just speak up. I think you just don't shut up. You just use your voice. Porque mira, going back a little bit to when I actually sat down, it was a liberal. My sister, I had all these other conservatives telling me speak up, and I was like, no. It was a liberal that convinced me. And she jumped up on one of my posts one day, you know, and she was trying to have a debate with me, and she goes, I'm sorry. We were high school. We knew each other in high school.
Okay.
And we followed each other. We didn't really have much communication. But then she started following me, not following me. She started commenting on my posts, and she goes, I'm sorry, but I disagree with you. And then I privately messaged her. I was like, listen, you don't ever have to apologize for having a different opinion than me, you know? And she was like so surprised that I would even say that, because, you know, in the Democrats, they're very much like, no, it's our way or the highway.
Yep.
And we started having discussions about just different things happening, you know? I know there was one time about Julio Cesar Chavez, and I was saying that he was against illegal immigration and how he would go and they would beat them up sometimes, you know? She took such offense to that because her family knew him. And I was like, but that's different. You could know someone, but you don't know their values. You don't know where their stance is, you know? So we would have like all these discussions like privately. And then when the 13 happened in Afghanistan, no, it was before the 13. It was something happened, and I don't remember what it was, but she called me and she was trying to blame Trump. And I was like, no. And I was like, look at this. And she took a step back and she was just like, you know what? She goes, you need to tell people. You need to put this out there, because if you're opening my eyes, and this is someone that works in San Francisco. She lives in San Francisco, super liberal, like very, you know, and it could have been all the conservatives in the world telling me to speak up, but it was that one liberal who changed my mind. It's just about having conversations, because people, if someone's willing to listen and you actually come with them with facts and knowledge, they can't debate you. They can't tell you it isn't true. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
no,
I think the best way to
that.
educate people is just keep talking.
Yeah.
Keep having discussions.
You know, I do that with my family. Like, you know, they'll say something like, let's say, with the high gas prices, they're complaining about the high gas prices. So I'll tell them, hey, you know, you voted for it. What do you mean? I didn't vote for high gas prices. Yes, you did. If you would have saw the policies that Biden was endorsing, then you would have saw that you could have seen that the high gas prices were coming. You know, I pointed out, you know, pipeline. I think you did a TikTok or something on this, where you talked about it. You know, the gas price. I mean, the pipeline, the executive orders, the leases. You know, the pushing the Green New Deal. All these things contributed to the high gas prices. And then, you know, obviously they were all rising before Ukraine, and then, oh, Ukraine happened. Oh, it's Ukraine's fault. No, the prices were going up before that.
Yeah, in that video, it was very much like that, because I have people in my family who are like, he didn't cause this. I go, yes, he did. So then if you just go back from the day he was in office to some of the very first policies that he signed, some of his executive orders that he signed, they started impacting not just our economy, but our gas. But like, how did we go from being energy independent and were we like the biggest distributor of oil at that point? We were even selling oil to
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia.
we were the biggest exporter.
Yeah, to this. Now we're emptying our oil reserves that are meant for emergencies and war.
Yep.
They're depleted to a 40-year low.
Yeah.
And not only are they depleted, Joe Biden was actually selling barrels daily to China.
Yeah.
And then now we have Saudi Arabia, who just came out and said that they're cutting our oil distribution. So how did we go from selling to Saudi Arabia to 2 years, them cutting us off?
Yeah.
It's Biden's policies, and that's blatant for anyone who's actually willing to do the research.
No, I agree. I was talking with one of my son's nurses about that. And I also have an issue with the people. She's like, well, in 2 years, I get to vote Biden out. And I told her, why are you waiting 2 years? I said, we have an election coming up in November. You could vote people out or vote people in that are going to basically challenge what Biden's doing. Like, I live in Pennsylvania. I have one of the worst candidates running, John Fetterman. He's like a Bernie Sanders clone. And I told her, if he wins and the Democrats take control of the Senate, complete control of the Senate, he's just going to be a rubber stamp for what Biden wants to do. And she goes, I didn't think about that. And I go, unfortunately, most Democrats, even the ones that are mad at Biden right now, don't think about it.
They don't see the big picture. And I think, yes, this economy is hurting their pockets. I think they're seeing all that. But unfortunately, they don't see that midterms could help us tremendously. Like right now, Kamala's a tiebreaker. So a lot of these policies that they're pushing, she's just going for it because it's half and half.
Yeah.
It's sad. I don't know. I don't really know how to wake these people up because they see the chaos and they see the world burning around them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they also just see the D and the R.
Yes, there's some people you can't wake up because, just like you said earlier, they're in a cult, and you're attacking their faith. When you attack wokeness, when you attack, all their ideology, that's their faith, because human beings, they need something to worship. They need something bigger than themselves, and they view this as bigger than themselves. And that's why you're attacking. So it's like attacking someone's religion when you attack them, those type of people. Then you have the liberals, like old school liberals, not these, lefties now. I like to make that distinguish, because you have the old school liberals, like your friend. That's an old school liberal, someone who you guys may have disagreed, but you guys can sit down and have a conversation.
But it's a whole new generation. It's there's the lefties and then there's the classic Democrats. I was a Democrat. I voted for Obama once. The second time I didn't vote at all, and then I voted for Trump twice. I think that the Democrats have come so far left that all of us who were Democrats at one point now align with conservatives and Republicans.
If you ever want to show, you want to show some of your liberal friends, some of your lefty friends, how far the Democrat Party has come, I think it was Bill Clinton's 96 State of the Union, or his his re-election speech. When, if you see like the stuff that he was talking about, Democrats don't talk like that no more.
Mm-mm. Even Obama, the policy that Obama ran on, they're not the policy the Democratic Party. Democratic Party was.
That's what he ran on. That's not what he did.
Well, even look back at Deporter in Chief. They call him Deporter in Chief because he deported more illegal immigrants than any other president. You don't see Biden doing that. You know what I mean? Just the Democrats, just in the last 4 years, have 6 now that Biden's been in office. But since Trump came around, it was like, the thing is, Trump was a Democrat, right?
Yeah.
And he wasn't far right. He's a very neutral Republican. And when he came in, he was trying to meet everybody in the middle.
I mean, I know you're there in California. He's a New York Republican. That a New York Republican let's say I lived in Texas, so I could tell you a New York Republican could run as a Democrat in Texas.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like he voted for Democrats. He was buddy
Yeah.
with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
That was his little crew. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They went to their daughter's weddings y todo eso. But the thing is, when you're running against someone who has your policies, you have to make him seem like he's the crazy one. So they ditched all their policies and they went far, far left. You know,
Yes. Yes, I agree. That's
it's
what I'm
it's
worried.
it's crazy. It's so sad. It's so sad because you just see like the things that are being pushed now in our country, and it is not the country that our family came to. It is our family didn't like abortion, right? Latinos, we're very pro-life. Most of us are Catholics. Most of us are
Mhm.
Christians. Um, and it's just heartbreaking to see that we're voting now for a party that thinks it's okay to murder your baby up until the day of birth.
And even the Latinos who are pro-choice, if you tell them you can have an abortion up to birth, even those Latinos will tell you no. You know, they'll say, 3 months.
No te creen, but they don't believe you. They won't believe you. They're like, Democrats are pushing this until birth. And they'll be like, they don't, we're, Democrats are so, they're so misinformed. There was a CNN broadcast, I believe last week, and they were saying that Republicans are winning on crime, on the economy, on the border. One of the only places that Democrats have a lead on is abortion because of Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
But even then, they don't really know the extent of these abortion laws because
Yeah.
of the wording in these policies. You know, these they'll be like, you could talk to a Democrat and be like, it's abortion until birth, and they'll be like, well, it's because of the health of the mother, and it's like, wait, but a baby can survive. I believe it's about 24 weeks.
Yeah, my son was
You
born
know
at
what I mean? At
24
that
weeks.
point, you could say both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my son was born at 24 weeks, so he changed my opinion on abortion because I used to my old stance was 24 weeks, was 6 months until he was born, and then he was born at 24 weeks, and he was in the NICU for 3.5 months, but he's 15 now, so I
But he's
know.
alive. He's
Mhm.
thriving.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that a 24-week old baby is viable outside the womb.
It is. So and see, I used to be pro-choice too. I used to be like, you can't tell a woman what to do. That's not the government's job. And I remember the day I changed my mind, it was when New York voted for 9 months. And they
Hmm.
celebrated and they lit up the Empire State Building pink because of the Planned
Yeah.
Parenthood colors. And then at that moment, I was living in Virginia. And then you had the governor of Virginia pushing for the same thing. And there was a clip of a Planned Parenthood lady in Virginia. And they were
Yeah.
debating this, and she wouldn't say when was it eligible for 9 months. And they asked her. They're like, I believe they asked her or it was the governor. I'm not quite sure. But they asked them, they're like, what if the baby's born and then the mom says she doesn't want it? And they basically said, you leave it to die because it's the mother's choice.
Yeah, he said some disgusting thing. He said, "We'll," if I'm quoting this correctly, he said, "We'll keep the baby comfortable," or he might have said baby or fetus, and then until the mother decides what to do. And it's
Yeah.
like,
And that's when I was like, yo, this is beyond choice at this point. This is
Mhm.
gone extreme, That's the moment I was like, no, I'm pro-life, completely pro-life now. Like, I do know there are instances, my mother had cancer and she found out she was pregnant. So I do know that there are instances
Yeah, of course.
where it is the mother's health or the baby, and
Yeah.
it's just, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's black and white, you know?
No, there's
But I
always
think for the
nuance.
majority of these cases, it's you're just killing a life.
No, I agree. I think there's always nuance, and no, you're making a conscious choice to kill a human life. Whether you want, you could call it whatever you want to, ease your conscience, but you're still killing a life. I tell the story of when I was young, I got a girl pregnant. She decided to have an abortion. I didn't want her to, but she decided to it. And to this day, I'll go, damn, I should have a 21-year-old. It bothers me. I could only imagine her as the woman, because but me as a man, it bothers me going that, my kids would have an older sibling.
I was watching a video earlier today, and there's so many women in that position, so many women who did make that choice and have changed their minds, because they realize what it is. They realize, like, years later, the travesty that they did. And the woman, she was talking about how she got pregnant and she was going to be a senior, and her boyfriend was like, do what you want. And the mom was like, because of your age, let's get an abortion, and she did. And she said that now when she speaks to women, she tells them, she goes, look, you carry a baby for 9 months, but you carry an abortion your whole life. Because it's very true. Years later, you look back, and she says, like, that could have been someone's older sibling. You robbed them of that.
Yeah, and it's true. It's, like I said, I still think about it to this day, and it's, it does last your lifetime.
Yeah, it's sad. It's so sad because as young women in this country, they don't let you see it like that. They see you're kind of molded to believe that you're doing what's best for you, for your future.
Mm-hmm.
They don't let, even Planned Parenthood. I'm sorry. I believe they don't even let you see the sonogram. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know. Because I know some
because
states
they see the sonogram, you're more willing to change your mind.
Some states have the sonogram bill that make them show it. Like, I think, I'm not mistaken, before Texas used to have the sonogram law.
I knew a couple of states had it, but I know that Planned Parenthood, they don't want you to see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I think Texas passed the law, because of that. Like what you're talking about, is like, see the consequences of what you're doing.
They don't, and the thing is, this is such a moneymaker for Planned Parenthood. And like I said, my sister works there, and she's like, we do other things besides abortion.
Right.
I go, yeah, I know. Every time you guys do an abortion, you guys do a pap smear, you guys do this, you guys check for that STD, you guys do all these things.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is to get that baby out of there. Just because you do 4 or 5 other procedures along with it doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? They're very manipulative with the way they use their numbers.
It's funny you say money making and Planned Parenthood, because I think they're talking about it now, that's the money maker with what's going on with the whole transgender craze. It's because a lot of these hospitals, they don't, like, people don't understand this whole thing with the trans stuff, is that you're making a patient for life, because they're going to have to be on hormones the rest of their life. So they're always going to have, they're going to need mental treatment for the rest of their life for the most part. So, of course, these hospitals, want to push for it because they're making money off of that stuff.
Did you see Planned Parenthood just came out with a trans commercial?
No.
Where they're pushing hormones, and it's the same thing. A lot of these kids that are being pushed into doing these changes, it is because of money. The hospital benefits a lot out of this, and Planned Parenthood just came out with a commercial. So I wouldn't be surprised if Planned Parenthood is also trying to weasel their way into that arena to make money.
Would not surprise me whatsoever. It would
and
not.
The saddest thing is, like, I think as taxpayers, they get millions of dollars. Like, they get so much help out of taxpayers to pay for that.
Well, the irony behind that, it's like a Democratic slush fund, because they push money to Planned Parenthood, and then Planned Parenthood goes ahead and donates money to the Democratic Party.
Exactly. That happens a lot. That happens a lot with just a lot of these big organizations that help Democrats.
Yeah.
And a lot of these big organizations that you look at are donating to Democrats are getting a little kickback in return.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, the teachers union's another one. Most unions usually are like that, where, they're donating to the Democrats, and then Democrats give them, pass, get stuff for them in return.
Yeah. Did you see the bill that the Democrats are trying to push for the White House, actually? Oh, I forgot the number of it. But basically, they were cool with Twitter all this time because they had allies there. You know, they were
Yeah, of
like,
course.
they were okay, block them. All right, censor them, kick them off. Now that Elon is about to buy Twitter, the White House came out with this plan, something AI bill. I don't remember the number, but basically they're trying to protect American citizens from censorship. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, that's convenient. The day that
Uh-huh.
Elon says he's going to buy it, you guys come up with this, but you guys were cool the whole time that conservatives were being censored.
Of course. When Hunter Biden's story being blocked by Twitter, banned the New York Post, their page, period. Facebook was like basically shadow banning it. You couldn't even message it to people.
And it
It's
all turned out to be true.
Yep. And the media still doesn't talk about it, other than
Very rarely do they talk about it. It's only certain outlets that are covering it.
Yeah.
I know that the guy that the guy that actually said that he was working with the Bidens.
Yeah, Tony Bobolinsky.
Yeah, he just did an interview and he's saying to this day, if you put my name in the search bar, it won't come up.
Well, you know what's even crazier? He did the interview with Tucker Carlson, and apparently no one in the FBI has come to him to other than pre-election, but since after the election, no one's come to him to investigate.
Yeah, he had a quote that said nobody. They kept saying the story's not confirmed, and he's like, all they had to do was reach out to me, and I would have confirmed it.
Yeah, it's really it's amazing and disgusting that that's what happens in the media. It's kind of like you saw that Nancy Pelosi when she said the whole thing about why are you sending the immigrants to the farmers are saying why are you sending the, and then she paused because I don't know if she didn't want to say illegals or she wanted to say, I don't know if YouTube allows me to say it, but SPIC. That's what I thought.
That's the Democrats' MO, no? Así son todos. They're extremely racist. That quote reminded me very much of Kelly Osbourne. Do you remember Kelly Osbourne's quote when Trump was in?
No,
she was saying, if we don't, if we send all the illegals back, who's going to clean our toilets? Do you remember that?
Yes. Now that you said that, yes, I remember.
Yeah, and the whole with Nancy Pelosi saying this, and I'm just like, this party is so racist. But for some reason, I mean, it's not some reason. I think most Democrats are racist. If you look at someone and you judge them by the color of their skin, you're racist. If you think like the whole Candace Owens and Kanye thing that just came out, I think this is showing like a lot of the Democrats' true colors.
Well, look in your state when I was gonna say, looking in your state when Larry Elder was running for governor, the LA Times called him the black face of white supremacy. It's disgusting.
It's so racist que ellos piensen que nosotros como Latinos or como like African Americans or whatever, that we have to all be like think the same. We're not a monolith. No. We're individuals. But ellos no ven eso. Ellos nomás ven la raza que somos, and they're like, this is how it is. This is what you have to be.
Yep. Oh, I get it. I get these. I was talking about Puerto Rico on a post, and because this white guy was, because he lives in Puerto Rico, all of a sudden he thinks he's more Puerto Rican than me. And it's like, just because you moved to Puerto Rico to take advantage of the low taxes doesn't make you Puerto Rican. And so I got into it with him, and he's like, you're a disgrace to Puerto Ricans. And I'm like, who the F are you to tell me that? And then he was saying that to this other girl who was born in Puerto Rico. And it's like, are you serious? It's like, no, we don't have to think like you white liberals to be Puerto Rican or to be any type of Latino.
Como yo, I get your white passing. You don't get it. I have hazel eyes.
Yes.
I'm lighter complected. And people always tell me, you don't get it, you're white passing. And I'm just like, I was raised in Mexico, you know, like, and it's usually white people or Latinos that don't even speak Spanish telling me this, you know? And I'm like, yo, like how, una vez me dijo another military wife, she's talking about oppression. And I go, look, as a Latina, I don't feel oppressed in this country. We came here because this country has opportunity. You know, I go, I've never felt less than. As a woman, my mom always taught me, like, tú aquí sí puedes, you know? And she's like, she looks at me and she's all like, that's because you're white passing.
Yeah, I hate that.
And I looked at her, I go,
get the
that is
same thing
extremely
too.
racist. And she like took a step back. I go, my skin something like my skin color doesn't dictate the way I think. I go, you know, I'm like, my skin color is as vast as my country. I have people in my family that are really dark, that have really dark tans. You know what I mean? I just happen to be on the other spectrum of it. That doesn't make me less Latino than my cousins.
No, I get it. You know, my father has green eyes. I wasn't as blessed as my father to have green eyes, you know, but I have the light skin, and I have like my mother looks India because she has that jet black hair and you know, not dark, but you know, we tan. Like in the summer, you could tell I'm Latino. In the winter, I look white.
No, I always kind of have even when I tan, I get like that olive tone. So like
Yes.
my husband, he's a half white, half Mexican.
Okay.
And his dad is like a 6'2" white man, like white. And his mom is like a little 4'9" little Mexican, you know? And my husband gets so mad because in the summer he tans and he's like, I get like a farmer's tan. And I'll be at the pool all summer long with my kids. And I don't get as dark as he does. And he gets so mad at me. But it's just, you know, everyone's just a little different.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I get the total difference from my wife. She gets mad because me and the kids we tan, and she, you know, she's also Puerto Rican. She stays white. She'll get like tan, but she'll still look white. Like she never looks as dark as me and the kids.
Yeah, like we're at the end of summer. I live in the desert. Like this is my summer tan, you know? So I feel her.
Oh no, I live in Pennsylvania. It's already getting cold. I already had to put heat on.
I'm jealous. I miss the East Coast. We lived about 45 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. for a few years.
Okay.
My husband's a Marine, so, you know, we get thrown
Yeah.
around everywhere. Right now, we're in the Mojave, so
Ooh.
it's very different. And I just miss it. I miss the East Coast. I miss the cold, you know, so.
Yeah, I lived in Texas, so I know what it is to miss the cold because my
Yeah,
birthday's in February.
here today, it was still, it was like, I homeschool.
Yeah.
And so this, you know, it was picture day. So we took pictures, and then one of my kids had speech while the other one was in science club. So I'm doing my driving around, and this was like 10:30, 11 in the morning, and it was like 89 degrees. And I'm just like, oh my God, like we're in October. Like, can we just hit the 70s already? Like, I miss the East Coast so much.
Yeah, I missed the snow when living in Texas because you rarely got snow where I lived in Texas. Like I think we lived there for 6 years and it snowed like twice.
Yeah, it's different. I always tell my husband, I was like, here in California, if I want to go to the snow, I'm going to go to Yosemite. And we have to, or Big Bear, but we have to get a cabin. We have to, you know, you make a whole thing of it. When we lived in Virginia, like it would snow, we'd get our sleds, we'd go outside, we'd come back home, have some hot chocolate, and go for round two. You know what I mean? It was just different.
Yeah, no, I do that with the kids when we get lots of snow. Yep.
You're so lucky. Yeah, I've been to Pennsylvania before. I loved it.
I like where we live in Pennsylvania. I got a good mixture. I used to live in Philly for a few years. I can never live in a big city again. I can't live in a big city again. I could live outside the city, but I can't live in the city anymore. I go to New York, and I'm there. If I'm there for a couple of hours, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to come home, because even though
I've
I'm
never been in New York, but I've been in Philadelphia. We were there. Being in DC, like that whole area, everything is so close in comparison to California. You know, if you want to go to a different state, it's hours. But they did the Marine Ball one year in Philadelphia, and we got to go. And I'm a huge history buff. Like, I don't know all the ins and outs, no sé todo eso,
yeah,
pero I love exploring history. You know,
me
we
too.
went, my kids, they went to everywhere. They saw the Liberty Bell. They saw the chair that George Washington sat in when they wrote the Constitution. Like,
Mhm.
they've been everywhere. They've been to Gettysburg. We went to
That's
Abraham
that's my
Lincoln's
that's
house
my
and
next
his
one.
grave. We went to George Washington's home. Like, I try to get them to experience as much of this country as you can, because how else are you going to appreciate it, you know?
No, I agree. We do
So
road
I
trips. Me and my wife, we do road trips. We prefer to drive as opposed to fly.
same
So
same.
like,
We did when we left Virginia, we could have flown, and I told my husband, I was like, let's go, let's hit the road. We drove from Virginia to Michigan to see my family, and then we came back down to California. So
wow.
yeah, it was a whole thing of it. But I think Philadelphia is so special, you know, just because that is where this country was founded. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. The history is
Yep.
incredible.
The Liberty Bell, the Constitution Hall, all of that. It's really nice. And if for people who, if you're really, really history buff, you just go right outside of Philadelphia. There's a nice Valley Forge where George Washington crossed, where he stood when they stood in the
We didn't
winter.
hit that place up. No,
Oh,
we
it's
didn't go to
nice.
Valley Forge. We did go to Tun's Tavern,
Mm,
which is where the Marines were created. It's not there anymore, but it's just like a sign now.
yeah,
It was a bar. It was a bunch of drunk people that created the Marines. So, you know, they
yeah.
haven't
No,
changed much.
I like to see it. Like, I went to, when I lived in Texas, I went to see where JFK was shot, and where next to where this JFK shot, they have like uh, uh, a replica of like what the buildings looked like when they first settled Dallas. So like the log cabins or whatever they had. It was pretty
That's
interesting.
cool.
Hmm.
We haven't. The thing is, like, there's not a lot of history where I'm at. I mean, there's things here, but I don't know. I just feel like the East Coast. If you're over there, you get the chance, just see as much as you can, because there's so much of our country's history on that end. You know?
Well, this is where it began.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But
and if you're in the DC area, usually George Washington's birthday, they do no admission, and you get to go explore George Washington's house and everything.
oh, nice. Well, the
Yeah,
Smithsonian stuff is free.
yeah.
And for anyone who's listening, and if you have a special needs child, um, know that like all the national parks are free. You just have to let them know you have a special needs child, and they give you a pass for you and the family to be able to go into any national park for free.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I found that out when I went to the Grand Canyon. So now I have a pass that I could use in any national park.
I love that. The Grand Canyon's beautiful too, by the way.
Oh, I want to go back. I only went for one day. I was so mad.
I told my husband that was one of our stops. Everyone got to pick a spot, you know, like a must stop on the road trip.
Uh-huh.
And that was my oldest. He really wanted to stop at the Grand Canyon. And it was literally all our favorite spots. We got a hotel on the rim. There's like a
Oh,
couple hotels
nice.
there.
Yeah.
I remember we got there really late, and we put the kids in the room. They were sleeping. And I walked out, and it was like a Disney movie. So many shooting stars, like the sky
Yes.
twinkled. So I went and I woke my kids up. I was like, hey, let's go outside, because it was just so beautiful.
I've heard. I want to do that. I so want to do that. But you know what? It's funny. You got on late, but we stood out for like around an hour and a half. It's been an hour and a half that we've been chit chatting
Oh,
already.
wow. El chisme estaba bueno.
Oh yeah, no, I was. I've been, like I said, I've been wanting to get you on since June, but I know I stopped in the summer to to spend time with the kids and to focus on my health because I gained too much weight, so I needed to lose weight in the worst way. So now I started so I could still spend time with my kids. Now that's why I used to do a show every day, and now I do this live stream instead.
Mm.
So that's why I try to get people on so like that people got to see the conversations. That's why I've had like a lot of Latinos because I want to wake our people up. Whether you're Mexican, I'm Puerto Rican, and it doesn't matter. We got to
We're
have these
Latinos.
conversations. We're Latinos at the end of the day, and we need to have these conversations because people need to see one. They got to see that we're regular people. You're a mom, a dad. You're a mom. I'm a dad. You're a wife. I'm a husband. We take care of our families. We love this country. We don't want to see. We don't want to see us become Venezuela or Cuba or North Korea, God forbid. We don't want to see that here. And if we don't want that here, we don't want our kids to have to struggle through that. I'd rather us be the ones to fight than our kids have to be the ones to do it.
But you know what? I always say that this is our battle, but our kids are going to end it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is our fight, but our kids are going to be the ones who have to bring this country back to what it was. That's why, if you have children, be very honest with your children. Be very open about what is happening. They need to know because if you don't tell them, society will.
Yes,
So
I agree.
if we want to preserve this country, we have to pass that on to our kids as well.
But all right, well, I'm gonna hard segue there to close it off. Um, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time. And before we end, let everyone know where they could find you on social media. I'll put it on in the description anyway, but let people know where they could find you.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm pretty much on a lot of these social media places. You could just I'm no me callas. I know there's periods in between, so it's no period me period callas. And yeah, it just basically means you can't shut me up. So
Yep. That's I forgot how I found you, but I remember I was watching your video and I was like, oh my God, you're funny, you're informative, so it's a double whammy when it comes to fighting the left.
well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Well, I'm the Right Rican, and this was Kari, aka No Me Calles. And I hope you guys have a great week.
How you guys?